Volunteers.
He'll
Solid.
be, he might be back at some point.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I am joined by Jenn DeMao for another Arsenal story. We got some really great feedback from the story with Tim, so I wanted to make sure that we found somebody else who's been with us for a long time so that she could come on and tell her story. So Jenn has been a member at Arsenal since November of 2019, so just over 3 years going into four here.
Exactly.
Do you what brought you to Arsenal in the first place?
Um, a few things actually. I had thought about I'd seen CrossFit before, thought about, looking into it and was incredibly intimidated. Um,
Sure, yeah.
very, very intimidated. And I'm 48, so starting out in my mid 40s was even more intimidating after I haven't done a lot for many years. And a very high stress job. That was probably the biggest push where I was just not in a great healthy mindset, physically, mentally, anything. And I knew I needed to make some changes. So I had been very active when I was younger. And I knew that's what I wanted to get back into, but I did not want to join a gym. I tried a couple of gyms and I hated it. I'd go like twice and never go back. So I needed something different and I wanted a challenge. So I completely took a shot and came in, and that's pretty much where it was. But I knew I needed some definite, jump start to my health because I was already like on blood pressure medication, and I mean, I'm like, I'm too young for this. I've got to do something else. So
Yeah. So, talk to us about your first couple weeks at Arsenal. I mean, what was that experience like for you? Obviously you were nervous to get started. Like, do you still get nervous when you come in for classes?
sometimes, but in a totally different way. Yeah. It was. I don't want to say it was still intimidating. It was, and I started with the boot camp classes, so it was a little
Yeah.
bit different.
Mhm.
And that was a good intro for me. But I will say, like, if I would come on a Saturday and watch the regular CrossFit class, I was like, just no, I could never do that. I'm never going to be able to do that. I've never touched a barbell in my life. I'm not going to. But I'll work this way. And I just started being consistent because I could already see from the very beginning that accountability being there.
Mhm.
So just coming like 3 times a week to boot camp, it was seeing a lot of the same faces and starting to get to know some people. And it was a small class too. It wasn't overwhelming. So it was a nice way for me to start. But then of course the pandemic hit. um, which I will say Arsenal was amazing. Everyone as a community, I think that made me feel even more close to everybody. I know we were separated, but what you did for everyone, it made a huge impact on me. So I had no plans either. I thought we would go back to boot camp. Again, never touching a barbell. I'm not going to touch barbell.
Mhm.
And you started back a little different, and the classes were small. And you said, "Oh, everybody," and it was you specifically said, "No, everybody's kind of getting back into the swings. It's going to be a good time to start out." And that was the first time I ever did anything. Was out on the parking garage before we were even totally back in.
Yeah, that was a unique situation that we were running into coming back from being shut down because we were obviously limited by the amount of people that we could have in the building. So it was difficult to run 2 classes
Yeah,
at once and still meet that limitation requirement. But then also like staffing was going to be an issue, right? I mean, just with everybody having to go out for a few weeks and not knowing when and having multiple people out, like the idea of running 2 programs was daunting at the time. So we figured like it's just like we love everybody so much. There's no reason it can't be one big community. Let's just kind of force a barbell onto these people and see how they like it.
it worked, and I never looked back after that. I remember
Yeah.
this. It was a Saturday morning, and we were right outside the building, and I just thinking about. I was only 6 people, and I was just thinking about, yeah, I can't believe I'm picking this up, and I did.
Yeah.
It's just I was hooked. I was hooked from the boot camp classes, just seeing because a little part of me was saying I've got to do that. I want to do that. And it was just motivating being around everyone. So that really helped.
When we came back from the pandemic, like when did you start feeling comfortable in the CrossFit classes?
Oh, pretty quickly. Uh,
Yeah.
really, that whole summer, it was maybe awkward the first couple classes because, and again, just everybody getting used to being back. But honestly, it was pretty quick because, the classes I started realizing too, and it was then just putting pieces together. You can scale things. Every coach at Arsenal shows you how to scale things, so don't be afraid. And I could see how other people in the class would work things, scale themselves if they were getting to know people, if they were having not a great day, hey, try this, and just starting to get to know, and you just feel comfortable the more you're around people. And it's not like it's a lot of conversation in class. Everybody's very focused, but it's very friendly. It's a very comfortable atmosphere.
Can you talk a little bit about like your training goals? Because I feel like for you, like coming in, like one of the things that we had been focusing on for a long while was strength and building muscle mass.
So I'm slightly different because that is still a goal. It's definitely still a goal. I've had a difficult past like 6 months because I haven't been consistent. I switched jobs, so it's been hard for me to get back into routine. So I'm kind of stepping back to a fundamental level right now to get back to kind of where I was with numbers a little over a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
So my body fat was down. Just building strength. But the big thing for me, and now that I've been doing this a little while, is my energy levels, my making sure I'm feeling well, making sure I'm taking care of, my body, my sleep, everything combined. So strength is definitely a goal. Agility, I mean, I'm learning all those things. That's why I come to build. But it's right now kind of taking a step back and working a little bit more on form. So I'm feeling comfortable to take the next step to do more of the movements that I've always been afraid of. So I kind of am a little bit different, but strength is always the underlying goal. But sometimes it's just certain movements to get to do well. And I
Sure.
like how the programming is like, we're working on a clean complex, things like that. And some of them I like more than others. So I kind of go with it that way, really, just how the programming is.
Yeah. Could you talk about like how you navigated those past 6 months where you were switching jobs, things became inconsistent, and you still tried to get in as much as you could, but kind of your mindset going through that, and like when you decided like, okay, now we need to really get back on the right path here?
I just realized how much I was missing everybody. So it was, I had to get back on a regular schedule, and I could tell, again, I wasn't feeling that great. Stress was starting to creep back, the anxiety creeping back a little bit. Things worked out, but I tried to make sure I at least came to build. That was number one. And Sunday mornings. So I was trying to be at least consistent with that. So it wasn't, totally getting away, because I didn't want to be away from everyone. I'd been more.
So, yeah. So 3 days a week, 3 days a week, you were getting there when you were being inconsistent, which honestly, I think for most people, they'd be like, that seems pretty damn consistent.
For what I
to
used
me.
to be, it's definitely different.
But it's interesting, like 3 days a week for you, it's like that was kind of like what you felt was inconsistent because you had been so good and probably getting to the gym like 5-6 days a week.
Much better, yeah.
Leading up to that. So, and I think that's really important for a lot of people when we start thinking about consistency and how to make this a habit. Like there is going to be times in everyone's life where things feel super chaotic and you're not going to be able to get in as much as you would like. And if you've only been coming maybe 2 to 3 times a week at a time in your life when things are like smooth sailing, then when shit hits the fan a little bit, you might find yourself coming 0 times or 1 time, whatever it might be. So I think for you, having that very consistent base of coming 5 to 6 days a week, then you drop down to 3. If we look at like, long term, like over the course of years, like that's still super consistent.
I don't feel it's that consistent. But no, I mean, and the thing is it's, I never wanted to I hated missing classes, but even being there in the world of chaos that was happening with my job, Arsenal was kind of my foundation and strength, that I was like, I can get here. This is where I feel normal. This is where I feel like I'm doing my thing. I feel like I'm myself, so I can tackle the rest of that. And now I'm in a place where I'm going back on the upswing. So
you are, yeah. And you gotten back into nutrition coaching with Arlene,
yep.
And you've actually gotten your Precision 1 nutrition certification, which is great. So you can talk about your nutrition journey a little bit.
Sure. So that was very integral when I started out. As again, when I came in, I was not in great shape at all. So I and I had no idea, what I should be eating, or again, I'd never done anything like this. So I did start with a one of the nutrition coaches early on, and thankfully I did, because when I did come back that summer, I actually tanked really badly. I lost a lot of weight. I lost a lot of body fat, which was wonderful, but I went too far. Because I was enjoying coming. It wasn't like I was even intentional, but I had no idea what I should have been eating at the time.
Yeah.
So I went from one level to go all the way down, and then I had actually to work my way back up again. So it's difficult to do on your own. You have to, I think, really to get where you want to be. Whether, and I don't think it's necessarily just a totally fitness or doing CrossFit in general. Understanding what your activity level is, what you need to be eating to maintain that, and taking into what you're doing on a daily basis. So nutrition for me is incredibly important. And again, at my age, maybe too, if I didn't have the fuel that I need, I could not be getting through a class.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's incredibly important. And it was nutrition coaching was nothing what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be, come in and say, hey, okay, you have to eat this, and this, and you're going to have to do this, and you're going to have to give up all this. And it's nothing like that. Nothing at all like that. They taught me how to eat for what I want, how, like I said, my energy levels, what my goals are at the gym. That's what Arlene is working on again now too. And I can't say enough about the accountability part of it.
Yeah, the accountability part is huge. I mean, even me, like, this is why I continue to work with Arlene, just so that I can have that accountability and somebody looking over my shoulder. I mean, honestly, I have that like in every aspect of my life, like including like running the business of the gym. Like, I need somebody looking over my shoulder, be like, make sure you do this and this. When it comes to like you're getting back on track with like nutrition and even like learning how to fuel yourself properly, was there an area that you were like, man, I'm actually doing really well in this? And then was there another area where it took you a little bit to get the hang of?
So for me, one area and a big part about obviously is hydration. So I drink enough water. I drink water all day long. I always have these with me everywhere. So I didn't have to worry about that one, but drinking enough water throughout the day is definitely really important. Again, for me, I have a tendency to go the opposite way. I don't like eating big meals. I don't like strength is gone, my energy's gone, and it's just I could tell that that's where it was getting bad, and I needed to get back on track. So, working with Arlene, we're starting. I think we started with protein first.
Mm-hmm.
Working on that as a goal. Each week, we're kind of building on working with macros, but building on any of those numbers to what I'm looking for. So it's a smooth transition to get back for me. I know how to eat well. I take for granted even now portion sizes and how much I should be eating through the day because you just don't think about it. So
yeah, no, you don't think about it. I'm someone who I don't like eating big meals either. Like I don't like eating a ton of food. So when it comes to getting protein in, like enough protein, it's always been a struggle. And just working with Arlene to come up with different strategies of having 2 smaller lunches, even like supplementing, my protein intake has gone a really long way to making sure that I get in what I need to get in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually my goal for the week is I do small meals, and I meal prep so much better than I used to. So I meal prep snacks and I do smoothies, but anything to get me through the day. And it keeps my energy up all day. I used to, again, with work and stress, I would just tank around 2-3 o'clock. My go-to, of course, was coffee, and I still drink a lot of coffee, but it's the energy that I needed. It's the protein that I'm going to get in the afternoon, the better snacks that I'm eating. And then if I come in the evening, I'm not, exhausted like I used to be. Not at all.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Do you have any advice for someone who might be thinking about getting started, but is a little bit hesitant and not sure that like going to a gym like ours is the right move for them?
Oh, it's the way everybody starts out. Like, I mean, again, I kind of jumped into it not thinking because I was just like, I have to do something because I was just so stressed and anxiety. But, coming in and just talking to a few people, maybe observing classes, the way everyone starts with the onboarding, I think is so nice because, I mean, obviously you get to know the coaches very well. And I think that sets the bar of really understanding you'll be comfortable here. You will. Don't be intimidated. I definitely want to say that to so many people. Don't be intimidated because everybody's at a different level, and you get that feeling and you see it as soon as you come in and you start talking to people. Maybe some people are there only a couple days a week or working on something. Some people are incredible athletes and going the distance for whatever it is their goals and that they want to do. But it's so nice and it's so comfortable because everyone is just so supportive no matter where you are. So yeah, I know I don't lift nearly what other people do around me, but I still try. And the fact that everyone can come up to you and recognize that you're trying, hey, that's a a wonderful feeling. And it doesn't matter. Did you lift more than you did last week? Cool. It's maybe only 2 pounds, 5 pounds. That's an accomplishment for you. Everybody's supportive of your own individual goals. So
no, that's fantastic. I think it's a great place to end it. Jenn, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We absolutely love having you at the gym. We're looking forward to some more good years ahead.
Looking forward to it too. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.